Good afternoon. Uh,
Good afternoon.
Now we are going to discuss. Today we are going to discuss Unit 4. Unit 4, we are going to learn the process in qualitative and mixed method research proposal development. So the entire unit you are going to learn, yeah, how to prepare mixed method research proposal, because there is a process involved. Even for preparing a proposal, there is a process. You need to differentiate yourself from quantitative and qualitative study. How the qualitative research proposal development is varying from quantitative. That's what this unit is going to tell us. So there are two subcomponents we are going to learn. One is what is research proposal in general. Then the second one, what are all the components inbuilt with the research proposal, especially in line with the qualitative research. So there are two subcomponents you are going to learn. One is research proposal. Another one is components of research proposal. These two things you are going to learn. Um, so there are four learning objectives. You need to understand the importance of research proposals. What is the purpose of developing research proposals? So the importance you are going to learn. You are going to understand the importance of research proposal. Then you are going to understand the process involved in qualitative research proposal development. What are all the process? What is the steps you are going to is available, or you need to engage in research proposal development. Then you are going to expose some practical aspects, how to develop the research proposal, and practical context also you are going to get to know. Then various components of research proposals. It is in line with both qualitative and quantitative. So this is the fourth thing. Importance you are going to learn. Process you are going to study. Then you are going to expose certain practical aspects of proposal development. Then various components of research proposal development. These four things I expected from you to learn from this session. So proposal, a research proposal is a detailed plan. A research proposal is a detailed plan which lays out the purpose of your research, then the path you're supposed to travel, and the procedure you're supposed to follow. These three things incorporated in research proposal. A research proposal is a detailed plan. So whatever, either it is research proposal or whatever the proposal, a proposal supposed to, it, in practical sense, it's a detailed plan. This detailed plan incorporated with the purpose of doing research, and the path it is going to be implemented, and the procedure is supposed to be followed. So there is a purpose, path, and procedure. If it is incorporated with the detailed plan, then it is called research proposal. So this research proposal, the context of research proposal is vary from the NGO or the academic institution. The context is vary. That's why depends upon the context, research proposal is vary. So research proposal is a tool. It's a tool for organizing and mapping up research projects and communicating it to the key audience. So what you wanted to communicate through your research proposal to the relevant audience. So if you are organizing, or if you are using a tool to organize your ideas, tool to organize and mapping your ideas to communicate to the relevant audience. The relevant audience may be, if you are working in an academic institution, the relevant audience may be the institutional review board. If you are working in an NGO, if the NGO is doing action research, then the audience is different. The person, the people you wanted to convey your research agenda is going to be different as well. But for example, if you are in an academic institution like Poligoro, you are going to have a different audience. So whatever may be, whether it is an NGO audience or it is an academic audience, but you are going to convey your idea. You are going to convey your idea through research proposals. So this audience is going to give feedback. Whatever you have written in your research proposal, convey to the concerned audience. Then the concerned audience give their feedback that can enrich your projects and ensure your project is in aligned with the ethical, legal, and other institutional guidelines. So a proposal is supposed to be it is a tool for organizing and mapping of your projects and communicating to relevant audience. Relevant audience will give their feedback and also enrich your project through their experience. They will tell you whether your project is followed all the ethical norms, legal norms, and other institutional guidelines. This is the background research proposal is used or developed. So, since we discussed institutional review board, so you assume yourself you are working in an academic institution. Within the academic institutions, you are having a institutional review board. So, how to make proposals to that institutional review board? That is the first agenda. Because when you are reaching a semester 4, for semester 4 you are going to study the entire semester. You are going to concentrate research proposal development as well as implementation of your proposal and come up with the. So for that purpose, you need to understand this process very clearly. So if you wanted to initiate any project, any proposal, you need to follow certain procedure. So now, for this session, we are going to give importance to institutional review board. So each university or colleges, they should have a institutional review board which seek research proposal from the clients, from students or from the faculty members. They need to invite research proposals from their clients. So now you become a client to submit your research proposal to institutional review board. If that's the case, then what are all the major items supposed to carry in your proposals? So if you are submitting to IRP, then your proposal, in general, your proposal is supposed to have a rationale. Then it should explain the instruments, what are all the instruments you are going to use. Then it should also give importance to explain informed consent and confidentiality. So this is the three major area you need to incorporate in your IRP proposal. One is rationale, another one is instruments, then the third part supposed to be informed consent and confidentiality. These three things are major criteria for evaluating research proposal by IRP. So the primary part of IRP proposals is explaining study rationals. Now I wanted to make a clarification. Since you studied quantitative study last time, quantitative study, the preparing research proposal in quantitative study, mostly it starts with the problem statement. So you are preparing your proposal for quantitative study starting with the problem statement. But here in qualitative study, you are starting with the rationale. Instead of going with the problem statement, you are going with the rationale. So the IRP proposal mainly give importance to preparing rationals. This rationale includes brief description about your research idea, then purpose of your research idea, then design of your project. So these three things were included in your rationale. So apart from this rationale, within the rationale, apart from these three items, description, purpose, and design, you need to mention your research question, then duration of your projects and scope, then how you are going to recruit your participants, how you are going to collect the data from your participants, how are you going to recruit uh, your procedures. Apart from this part, there is another part called the instruments. So instrument, don't take it this as a tool. It's an data collection instrument. So data collections, what are all the data collection instruments you are going to use? Also going to be mentioned in your IRB proposal. For example, if you are doing a qualitative study, then you need to go with either interview, participant observation, website analysis, or focus group discussions, or in-depth interview, whatever may be. You are going to mention what are all the instruments you are going to The third part is supposed to be the the informed consent and rational confidentiality. We will discuss that one later. Before going to that part, we need to understand that when you are making a rational, uh, what you supposed to consider by making for preparing a rational. So in a research, you try to avoid when you are making an rational, to avoid technical terms. You should avoid technical terms, theoretical jargons, and overuse of citations. But when you are making a quantitative study proposal, these things are very much important. But in qualitative study, you should avoid technical terms, theoretical jargon, and overuse of citations. But entirely, these things will vary in quantitative study. Quantitative study, you need to go with more on theoretical jargon, citations, technical terms are very much necessary. Another key part in IRB proposal is describing your research instruments considered to be the tools used in your research study. You need to clearly mention. You need to clearly mention what are all the tools you are going to use from that particular tool. What kind of information you are going to generate. That's very important. Then within the IRP, you need to mention, you need to demonstrate how you are going to employ your participants, how you are going to approach your participants. Either you are going to approach your participants through voluntary effort or informed consent. Are you going to pay any money? If you are going to pay money means on what basis you are going to pay for data collection, or you are going to get the data through voluntary effort. Even if you are getting voluntary effort, what kind of informed consent you are going to? Are you going to give a separate form, or you are just putting informed consent in your questionnaire? So you need to clearly explain in IRP. IRP there are three components. One is rational aid, another one is research instruments. The third one, how you are going to get data, whether you are going to apply the principles of informed consent or voluntary participants. These three things are major criteria in IRP proposals. So now we are going to see how to develop a scholarly research proposals. So now no need to think about IRP or something else. Now you think about how to make a scholarly research proposal. Now we are going to discuss the major components. This is not an ideal condition. This is a minimum requirement for preparing a scholarly research proposals. Because why I am saying minimum, each organization they have their own formats. So if you are applying for some NGOs for research, they have their own format. If you are applying for some academic institutions, they have their own format. So in general, you need to make sure the which organizations you are going to apply, whether they have a separate format or not. If they have a separate format, then you should go with it in line with their format. Don't go with your own things. So, but you need to understand what are all the major components supposed to be followed in a scholarly research proposal. This will be very important for you to prepare your research proposal for semester 4. So most of the research proposal consisting of a title, that is very much important. The title should be precious one. We will discuss how to make title. A title is important. Then after the title, you should make abstract. So this abstract will cover everything. The whole research should be covered in your abstract. It should be in a 10 to 15 line abstract. Abstract is going to be followed with the keywords. So what are all the content available in abstract should be mentioned in your keywords. Keywords not more than 3 to 5. Then after the abstract, you need to make rationale. You need to prepare the rational. Then after the rational, you need to come up with the research purpose and goals. Then review of existing knowledge or literature related to the project. After making rationally, then you are going to explain research purpose and the goals. Then you are going for review of literature. My suggestion, don't go with too much review, but you can at least you can go with the key reviews. Maybe 2 to 5 key reviews you are going to mention in your research proposal, because you are going to do it in your thesis. You are going to do it vast review of literature, but in your proposal, it is better to go with the key review, minimum of 3 to 5. So then after the review of literature, then you are going to make a delineation of guiding research questions or problem to be to address. So here you can take it like that after framing your review of literature, because review of literature will give you what are all the areas were studied by other researchers, what areas were missed by them. So the areas which missed by the researcher is going to be your research title, as well as you are going to make objectives and title from the area people are missed. That is called research gap. So from the research gap, you are going to make title as well as objectives. So once you made the objective, from that objective, you are going to make your research questions. So in a qualitative study, research questions are very much important. It should be made out of the research gap. Then you are coming up with the research questions. So the research question is going to be the key for qualitative study. Once you made the research questions, then you plan for your data collection as well as analysis. So each research question or each objective is going to be made different questions. So that is called preparation of checklist. That is called in qualitative study preparation of checklist. Once you finalize, this is my question number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So each question, for question number 1, what kind of tools I am going to use. This is the question is here. Then you can find out what tool I am going to use to get answer for this question. So you are going to make the tool or instruments you are going to make. Once you made the instruments, each instrument you are going to make the checklist. So when I am using social mapping or resource mapping, what are all the information I am going to derive? So I am going to make checklist for each of the questions. That checklist is going to be kept with you when you are doing facilitation with the community. It should be hidden with you, or it should be kept in your mind. So what kind of question I am going to ask, it should be mentioned in the checklist. So this, once you finalize this data collection instruments and analysis procedure, then you can incorporate timeline, budget, and project outcome. So these are all the major area. You need to start with the title, abstract, rationale, uh, purpose and goals, review of literature, guiding questions, plan of data collection and analysis, then timeline, budget, and project outcome. These things are very much necessary for making qualitative scholarly research proposal. So now we are going to see each part. What are all the components supposed to be followed, or what are all the necessary basic minimum necessary item should be there in the research proposal development. So again, I wanted to emphasize here um, the each organizations, each funding organization, they have their own format. So better, instead of going with the general one which we discussed previously, not necessary to go with that one. If that organizations are having their own formats, if their own formats is there, means you need to download, you need to check with that. According to that, you are going to make proposals. If it is not there, then you need to follow the one we discussed previously. So title, there are guidelines were given here. In general, if you are making an academic writings or a proposal, you need to follow double spaced. It's recommended for going with the double space column. Then it should be typed. Then it should be minimum of 12 to 15 pages if it is in a classroom assignment. If it is in a research, my suggestion, don't go more than 5 pages. Try to restrict yourself with a 5 page. If it is an assignment, academic assignment, you can go with a 12 to 15 pages. It will come roughly 3,500 words to 5,000 words. It will come 12 to 15 pages. If it is a research proposal, my recommendation is just to go with uh, 3 to 5 pages, because people don't want to read too much thing. So it's better to restrict ourselves to come up with 3 to 5 pages. So the title and abstract and keywords, these three things must be only in a half a page. So when you are starting your even your articles or research proposal or any academic writing, you should have a abstract. So abstract is necessary. Some people are saying abstract, some people are saying synopsis. different names are there, but the content is same. Abstract or synopsis, these things are same. So you need to title, abstract, and keyword should be a minimum of half a page. Don't go one page. Just make it half a page. Crispy title combined with the abstract and keywords. Keywords should go with the 3 to 5 words. Why we are making keyword means because nowadays most of the research works were published in internet. So if you publish something in internet, then you need to make keywords because the keywords are going to be given as an input in search engines. So mostly these keywords were used by the search engine. People wants to know your work. They will just type in some keywords which is there in their mind. So if the keywords are very much important because it should be it is related to your work. So that when they are searching, somebody wants to know something, then they will put only keywords. So you need to make keywords supposed to be a common one, which reflect your work. So people are using most commonly nowadays in keywords in internet sources. So that is why the keywords are made mandatory. Once you finished title, abstract, and keywords, then you need to prepare introductions. So if it is an assignment, introduction can go up to 2 to 3 pages. But introduction, the body of the introduction should be the explaining the research purpose and goal. That is very much important to explain the research purpose and goal. Then references to key audience terms and approaches if you are using. Then rationale is much more needed in your research. The rationale also include practical and theoretical and methodological aspect of your rationale. In qualitative study, you need to go with the content the how to say theory of change. You need to mention theory of change. So there are 3 things must be included in introduction: research purpose and goal, then reference to key audience, reference to key audience terms and approaches should be included. Then rationale, the rationale should be incorporated with the practical, theoretical, and methodological components. So once you finish introduction, then you need to go for literature review or conceptual framework. So in your literature review, you are not just reviewing literature, you are also develop a conceptual diagram or conceptual framework. It can go up to 6 to 8 pages if it is an assignment. Because if it is an undergraduation, mostly the supervisor were asking 15 to 20 reviews. If it is in a master degree, it should go up to 40 reviews. If it is an MPhil or PhD, it should go more than 60 reviews. So if you are going with more than 60 reviews, review means each review should come at least half a page. So if it comes half a page means if you are making at 60 reviews, then it will go roughly 25 to 30 page. So review of literature is very much important. I already told you from your review only, from the study you are selecting, because you are checking the studies relevant to your title, then you are going to skeletonize or you are going to deduce the studies which are not relevant. Once you start reading, the first reading will tell you this study is relevant to my title or not. Then you are going to leave out. So you are going to select quality if it is in a PhD or masters. If it is in a masters, at least minimum 30 to 40 studies are required. You are going to choose according to your title the relevant studies. Maybe you are splitting your title into 3 or 4 subtitles. Each subtitle you are going to choose 10 studies. So you are going to make appropriate studies. From appropriate studies, you are going to find out what are all the key items were covered. So key areas were covered by the previous studies. You are going to make it the list. Once you made that list, then you are going to find out what are all the areas were missed by other authors. That one also you are going to take it. There is an area studied by others, the areas missed by others. The areas missed by others is going to be the research gap. Then the research gap is converted into title and also objectives. So the purpose of review is very much important. If I am your guide, my first assignment is supposed to ask my student to go with the review of literature, not introduction. So you need to do the review. Review will teach you the technical knowledge as well as subject knowledge. So it's better to start with review, then you go for introduction. That's my suggestion. Will come like that. So once you finalize the literature review, then you will get the research cap. From that research cap, you are going to make objectives. So once you made the objectives, then you are going to go. You are going to go with the objectives. Can be broken into research questions. So each objective you are going to make research questions. So literature review, conceptual framework, and research question. It can come up to 6 to 8 pages if it is in a big assignments. Once you finalize the review of literature, then you need to mention what kind of methods you are going to use. So methodology part, it comes after the review of literature. So methodology part, it can come 3 to 4 pages. The methodology, you are going to explain the researcher's role, whether the researcher is going to be just a data collector or just coordinating the research, or he or she himself herself are involved in facilitation role. But researcher role is very much important, whether he is a subject expert or technical expert. You need to mention. If I am a researcher means I can able to mention I am a participatory practitioner for more than 15 years in NGO sector. I can mention I am trained on participatory techniques, able to facilitate. This kind of things must be mentioned. The role of researcher in that particular research. Then you are going to explain the background of the research site and participants. Then if you are received any IRP approval, you are going to mention that one also. Then you are going to explain the sampling plan, source of data collections, how many tools you are going to use under the source of data collection. Source of data collected, you are going to mention what are all the tools, research tools you are going to use, whether you are going to use participant observations, interviews, or focus group discussions, or data collections, online data collections, or document review, you are going to mention. Once you mentioned the research instruments and approach, then you are how you are going to what kind of approach you are going to use. Once you are doing in a field, what kind of transcribing method you are going to follow. Are you going to follow the field note, or you are going to make separate reporting procedure? That one also need to be mentioned. So one after the data collection instrument part, then you need to mention what kind of data analysis you are going to use. If it is a qualitative study, quantitative, what kind of software you are going to use. Are you going to use any software? If you are using software means what kind of software, whether it is your Excel or SPSS, you are going to say. If it is in a quantitative, are you going to use are you going to do it manually, or you are going to do any software like Navera or Atlas? What kind of software you are going to use? If you are going to do thematic analysis, what kind of theme you are going to propose? Do you have any code? Do you have any category or theme you are going to evolve? If it is a content analysis, what kind of procedure you are going to follow, you are going to mention here. So once you finished these things, then you are going to mention what is there any reference available. You are going to put it references. Then you are going to make a budget. Budget should minimum of 1 page. Should not go behind more than 1 page. So then after the budget, you are going to make timeline, how you are going to start your project, when you are going to ending your project. It should be mentioned. This project activity mentioned in left hand side. Then month is going to be broken into quarters. So you are going to mention quarter one, maybe starting from April to January to March, January to April, then May to next 4 months, maybe making three quarter or 4 quarter. It is you are going to make it activity plus month wise. You are going to break the year. So that is timeline. Once you finish the timeline, then you are going to go for a potential outcome for your study. So these things are a minimum required for qualitative research proposal development. Ah, expected outcome. Potential means expected outcome. So there are tips also given to you when you are making for especially for the section qualitative, if it is in a qualitative method, if your methods and materials, how to write, the, the tips are given here. For example, researcher role, the researcher, what kind of role you are going to explain. So you are going to mention brief description about obtaining access, how you are, whether you are going to be a full practitioner or full participants, how you are going to be, what is your role. Then participants and site, maybe you can mention the what type of participant are they going to be there in your research. Then regarding the site, whether it is in how many villages, these villages were belongs to which kabale, which district, which region, which country you are going to mention. Maybe my suggestion, start with Ethiopia, then which region you are going to study. Mention from Ethiopia map, you can segregate region. From region, you can mention which Kabale is going to study. So one map is going to be a base map. Then micro maps were developed from the major maps. So starting with Ethiopia region, then your district. Then you find out your Kabale, your exact site. You are going to mention both participant as well as your research site, number of participants, their background, demography, you can mention. So once you find these things, then if it is an IRP approval, then you need to, if you are collecting any human samples, then you need to mention the ethical approval. If you are getting clearance from ethical committee, that form also need to be mentioned in your proposal. Then sampling plan, whether you are going to use, what kind of samples you are going, how many samples you are going to use, what kind of, how you are going to select the samples, you need to mention. Then describing data collection mechanisms. This include data source, collection procedure, whether even collection procedure, how you are going to transcribing the notes, how the transcribing notes were converted into electronic form. Everything must be mentioned. Then interview questions should be either be embodied in the method sections or attached as an annexure. Key question must be prepared and attached, or key areas must be mentioned in the methodology itself is good. The data analysis, whether if you are using manually or any data software if you are using, you are going to explain how you are going to do your data collection procedure. If you are making a budget, don't there are guidelines where common guidelines available. Don't put salaries for, especially for research project. Don't put salaries. It's better to put expenses. Mostly the research work should go with the expenses. So if you are buying any computer equipments or any utensils you are buying for the research, that need to be mentioned. Then cost of transcribing. If you are expecting somebody to do spell check, or somebody is to translating from Arami to Oromia to English or something like that, you are going to mention the services you are acquiring from outside. Then equipment, room rental, you can mention. If you are doing a focus group discussions in one place, how much rent you need to pay, that also need to be incorporated. If the researcher traveling from different places from one place to another place, means researcher travel can be incorporated. Then monetary participant incentive. If you are paying the participants for their days, how many days they are spending, if you are paying in, that also need to be incorporated there. Then entertainment, food, childcare, if any other outside expenses are there, means you are going to mention. Books, online subscription, supplies, you can able to make budgets. Salary, summer support or teaching or buyout any researcher or research assistant, you can mention. If you are buying any software, you supposed to mention in the budget. There is an assignment. There are two assignments were available in this unit. One is individual assignment, another one is group assignment. So the one now you are seeing, it is an individual assignment. You need to organize a two-page overview of a study you would like to conduct. In future, the study which you wanted to conduct, you are going to write a two-page write-up about your study. So in that study, you need not concern about your specific approach. Here, right now, I am not worried about whether you are going to follow qualitative or quantitative. Anything you can select. It is up to you. I am not insisting anything. I am not asking you to mention the approach. It is you to decide. In your summary, the two-page summary, you need to mention the problem or issue you plan to study. That is the first part. Second part, the major research question you plan to ask. The first part, the problem you are going to study. The second part, major research questions for your problem. Then the third part, the data you wish to collect and analyze. So what are all the areas you are going to collect the data and doing analysis. The fourth part, significance of your study. Fifth part, the your relationship to the topic and participants being studied. So this is the preliminary plan. It can be modified at any stage. So if you are thinking about your semester 4, this can be the first step. You need to prepare these things in two-page documents. It's not a research proposal. It's just a concept note. You are not going to mention the big research proposal. We are just giving importance to only these four aspects out of four areas. There is a group assignment. I will share a project call for application to you. The title of the proposed call for application is Thematic Call for Grant Applications. Thematic Call for Grant Applications, Tailor-Made Training, OKP, PMT, Gender. This is the title of the call for applications. This call for applications came last month. Call for applications came last month from one of the Belgium-based donor. So that is the call for application is going to be forwarded to you via Telegram group. There are two assignments you need to write based on the call for applications I am going to forward. One is summarize your understanding about the proposed call for applications. It is a 15-page document. You are going to summarize 15-page document into one page. So my first assignment for the group is summarizing the call for applications into one-page document. The one-page document should have 1.5 spacing. It will be carry 15 marks, 10 marks for your summary, 5 marks for your presentation. Second assignment, you propose your project idea, concept relevant to the theme mentioned in your application. So you need to propose a project idea or concept relevant to the theme mentioned in your call for applications. There are 3 themes available in call for applications. You are going to select one. You are proposing an idea. So your idea is supposed to be 500 words. Your idea is supposed